All right, let's talk about one of the biggest mysteries out there. What if I told you that there might be a lost world, maybe even an entire civilization, buried deep under the ice of Antarctica? It sounds like science fiction, but that's what we're digging into today.
Just try to picture this for a second. We're talking about a sheet of ice almost 2 miles thick. A crushing, frozen darkness where sunlight hasn't touched the ground for, well, thousands, maybe even millions of years. And that is where our story begins. So, using technology that can literally see through all that ice, scientists found something that just blew everyone away. They discovered a completely hidden landscape, like a ghost continent, perfectly preserved down there in the deep freeze.
And this is where the mystery really kicks in. Because mixed in with all the mountains and valleys, the radar scans picked up something else. They found these patterns, these shapes that just don't look natural. Some people are saying they're way too structured, too geometric to be an accident of nature.
You know, that one discovery has sparked this massive debate. And it all boils down to one huge question we're going to tackle. What is really hiding down there at the bottom of the world?
Okay, so let's get into it. Before we can really unpack the mystery, you have to understand the continent itself. Because believe me, Antarctica is not like any other place on this planet.
I mean, this is the coldest, most empty place you can possibly imagine. We're talking no permanent residents, no real borders, and getting there, it's all strictly controlled by this international treaty. It's basically locked off from the rest of us.
But here's the crazy part, the big contrast. On the surface, yeah, it's just this frozen wasteland, but peel back that ice and you find this incredibly dynamic, ancient world. A place with flowing rivers and huge mountain ranges that has been completely sealed off from our world for ages.
So you're probably wondering, how in the world did we find any of this stuff? Well, the big breakthrough came from satellites with this amazing ice-penetrating radar. It gave us our very first peek into that abyss.
And the first thing that shocked everybody was just how much liquid water there is. I'm not kidding. Scientists have mapped more than 400 lakes under the ice. 400! And some of them are as big as one of the Great Lakes, just sitting there in complete and total darkness.
And it wasn't just lakes either. They found this whole water system. Rivers flowing between the lakes, these weird heat zones that are actually melting the ice from the bottom up, and, this is the big one, those strange geometric patterns that just look so out of place.
And that's the discovery that really got the debate going. So what are we looking at here? Are these just some weird but totally natural rock formations? Or could they be something else? You know, the faint outline of something man-made?
All right, let's look at the next piece of the puzzle. And this one sounds completely impossible, right? On the coldest place on Earth, there's a source of incredible heat coming up from deep underground.
Yeah, even with surface temperatures that can drop to -80°C, Antarctica is geologically alive and kicking. You've got volcanoes and geothermal vents pushing up a ton of heat from the Earth's core, right up to the bottom of the ice sheet.
So here's why that's so important. That heat creates pockets of liquid water. And on our planet, wherever you find liquid water and an energy source, you usually find life. It just completely changes the game for how we think about this frozen continent.
Okay, now we get to what for a lot of people is the most mind-blowing piece of evidence in this whole mystery. It's a map, an ancient map that was made centuries ago, and it seems to show something that just shouldn't be possible.
So, check this out. Back in 1513, an admiral named Piri Reis made this world map, and on that map, there's a section that looks exactly like the coast of Antarctica. I mean, it's shockingly accurate, but it shows the coast without any ice. The big problem here, scientists are pretty sure that coastline has been buried under ice for at least 6,000 years. So how does that happen? How could anyone have mapped the coast of Antarctica before it was buried under miles of ice? I mean, who could have known what it looked like, and where did they get that information? It's just incredible.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got strange shapes under the ice, we've got this impossible heat source, and we've got an ancient map that shouldn't exist. As you can probably guess, this leads to two very different explanations for what's going on.
So on one hand, you have this really wild theory about a lost civilization. Some people even say it could be Atlantis that got flash frozen and buried. And on the other hand, you have the official scientific explanation, which says, hold on, everything we found can be explained by good old-fashioned geology. Let's break down how each side sees the clues. The people who believe in a lost city, they look at those weird shapes and say, those are buried buildings. They see the heat zones as an energy source for that city. And that map, to them, that's the smoking gun. But science has a different take. The shapes, they say those are just natural grid-like patterns from the Earth's crust shifting. The heat, standard volcanic activity. And the map, probably just a fluke, a weird coincidence. So you have two sides looking at the exact same evidence and coming to totally different conclusions. But, and this is a huge but, there's one thing that hangs over this whole debate. 99%. Think about that. Even with all our amazing tech, we have seen less than 1% of what's actually down there. 99% of that buried world is still a total mystery.
And when you combine that huge unknown with how restricted the continent is, well, it gets people talking. The official reason for keeping everyone out is to protect the environment, which makes sense. But the secrecy makes some people wonder, are they just protecting a fragile ecosystem, or are they protecting a secret?
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that Antarctica is so much more than a giant block of ice. It's a time capsule. It's like a locked vault holding a piece of our planet's past. And whether it's just amazing natural wonders or something else, it's a chapter of history we haven't been able to read yet.
And that leaves us with the one big question at the heart of all this. Let's just say tomorrow all that ice melted away. What would we find? Would it just be rocks and water, a new landscape just like the scientists predict? Or would we be staring at the ruins of a completely forgotten world? The truth, whatever it is still down there, waiting to be found.